At this moment, the big bear also came over. The big bear was about to smash the two hammers in his hands, but at a glance, it was clearly empty. De Xiong steadied his mind and looked at Monkey in confusion. "What's wrong with you? There's nothing down there. You're scaring me to death." Monkey looked at the empty space below with a puzzled expression. He found the small stone from earlier. The small stone was now lying on a dead animal corpse. It was precisely because of this corpse that the stone did not roll or make a sound just now. It fell directly to the ground, and it seemed to be the case. There shouldn't be any flaws, but he felt that something was wrong. What was wrong? What was wrong? Why did everything feel so strange? It's just a dead guy. Look at how scared you are. I think you've been too nervous recently, causing you to be on edge. Big Bear was full of words. Monkey said in puzzlement, "That's not right. It clearly wasn't this feeling that was wrong just now. It definitely wasn't right." "All right, I think you're really too nervous now. You still need to find a place to relax. So if you go out in your current state and don't meet the enemy, you'll get into trouble first." Although Monkey still had doubts in his heart, he could not stand the big bear's pestering. The two of them still carried doubts and left hastily. However, they really did not know what had happened here. As for everything that had happened just now, they casually left it behind. Perhaps Mother's senses were wrong. Our place is impregnable, and those ordinary humans can't come in at all. Besides, they're already busy taking care of themselves outside. So how could they have the mood to come here? We're just waiting for the day of victory. The big bear left with the monkey, and the two of them had their arms around each other. The black fog slowly parted, revealing three figures inside. Li Yuanqing and Yang Tianqi did not even dare to breathe loudly. Both of them stared at the two powerful demonic beasts with their eyes wide open. Only after the two of them left did the two children finally relax and dare to breathe. It was really too dangerous just now. They were almost discovered. That guy had an unknown sense of smell and suddenly kicked a rock down. Moreover, it happened to fall on everyone. If not for Master's quick reaction, they would have been discovered just now. It was really too dangerous. Li Yuanqing carefully looked in the direction where the two guys left and said in shock, "Master, the strength of these demon beasts here is too powerful. Just a random one is already so powerful. I wonder how powerful there will be in the future. What kind of place is this? I didn't expect that there would be such an existence in the catacombs world. If I let them all out, it would probably be a catastrophe." This place had simply refreshed the little fellow's worldview. They had never seen anyone with strength beyond the spirit transformation realm before. Even those at the spirit transformation realm were extremely rare among the human race. However, ever since he followed Li Yuanqing, he realized that even array formation realm cultivators were completely worthless in this world. He could see a few of them everywhere. This contrast was too strong. However, although the two children were shocked, the more shocked and intense the impact was, the more excited they were. These two children were very bold children. If it were an ordinary child who encountered such a stimulation, they would have been so frightened that they would have run back crying. However, the two of them could only see a strong impulse. "Do the two of you want to become so strong?" "Of course, Master. Ever since I was young, I have dreamed of becoming a top-notch expert one day. This is my dream. I have never seen this before, but now I know what kind of person I should become." Yang Tianqi was more eloquent, and his words sounded much better. Li Yuanqing was not as good at expressing himself, but he only strengthened his belief. "Master trained the two of us into such experts. We want to become as powerful as them." Li Yuanqing gently patted their heads and encouraged them. "As long as the two of you are willing to work hard to cultivate, Master will definitely help you. Do you understand?" As soon as Li Yuanqing finished speaking, he suddenly brought the two children and slowly disappeared into the darkness. He had already left Big Bear and Monkey, but now he had returned. The monkey was suspicious and looked left and right. Big Bear followed behind him impatiently. "I say, Honglang, how long are you going to make a scene?" De Xiong said helplessly. "We've already turned this place upside down. There's nothing here at all. Why don't you believe us? Or do you feel like there's something here?" The monkey continued to search everywhere, but he still couldn't find anything. This made him very depressed. The Big Bear said helplessly, Just tell me the truth. Are you looking for trouble because Mother doesn't want you to go out? I told you. This is my mother's decision. If you want to use this method, you will only be courting death. The fur on the monkey's head suddenly stood up. It turned its upper body and glared at the big bear. I told you not to talk so much nonsense. I clearly felt that there were humans here just now. But there's clearly nothing here. Yes, there must be. Monkey said with great certainty. The humans have already infiltrated our mystic realm. How is that possible? Dexiong asked in confusion. If the human race really had such strength, they wouldn't be hiding in that city. They would have sent people to block this valley if they didn't come out. However, Monkey still refused to budge. There must be humans here. Go back and report to Mother immediately. There must be humans here. Big Bear wanted to stop Monkey helplessly, but Monkey ran back in a hurry and immediately went to report. The big bear could only look at it helplessly. He really couldn't understand what was wrong with this brother of his. Why was he so stubborn today that he believed that the human race was here? This Hong Lang is really going crazy. After Dexiong muttered a few words helplessly, he still followed obediently. At this point, he could only follow Monkey. The two of them were on the same team. If there was a disagreement, it would be easy for others to take advantage of it. This was completely not allowed here. At this moment, Li Yuanqing had already brought the two little fellows along the path that the two of them had come from and slowly followed them. Master, this is bad. Did that monkey discover us just now? Looking at him, if he goes back to report, will we be caught? Li Yuanqing also frowned slightly. He did not expect this monkey to be able to grasp their position. This was simply impossible. There's not much time left. We have to hurry up. Before their people discover us, we have to figure out this place. I think there must be a very important place here. Li Yuanqing led the two little fellows and followed behind the big stupid bear, slowly moving into the complicated cave maze. This cave could be seen everywhere. There were holes on the rock walls on both sides, and cocoons were placed in the holes. Those things that looked like heavy scissors contained very powerful power. In the deepest part of the cave, there was a wide, round hole. A pure white and extremely bloated insect was lying in the center of the cave. Its huge body occupied more than half of the empty space. The big bug had a pair of hard teeth on its head and 6 small black eyes. However, its head was completely negligible compared to its fat body. At the entrance of the cave, Monkey hurried over. Mother, something bad has happened. A human has barged in. The monkey panted as he said, I sensed the human's aura just now. Although he has very powerful concealment methods, I still managed to capture some of it. It was unknown where the sound came from. How did they get in? Monkey knelt at the entrance of the cave and answered very honestly, Mother, I'm not sure either. However, these humans seem to have grasped a very powerful force. If we don't hurry up and speed up the attack, I'm afraid that these humans will drag it out again, and the situation will become unfavorable for us. The big bug was silent for a moment and said to Monkey, We'll send Spirit Boy out. You and Huishan will immediately find this human. Monkey immediately said anxiously, Mother, although the spirit child's strength is sufficient, he has flaws in dealing with the human race. If we send him out, it will give that human race time to catch their breath. In my opinion, we must not show any mercy when dealing with these humans. Hong Lang, are you questioning my decision? I dare not question your decision. However, the fact that the human race has been able to barge into this place without being discovered is enough to prove that the human race has already grasped a certain level of strength. In this way, if we can't make the first move, I'm afraid we will be at a disadvantage. Monkey had been reporting for a long time before the big stupid bear finally arrived. He knelt behind Monkey unwillingly. Mother, can the two of you sense exactly where that human is? The big bug asked the big stupid bear again. The stupid bear gritted his teeth and replied, Hong Lang said that he felt it. However, my senses are slightly slower, so I didn't find any traces of humans. I think we should send someone to search them first. There might really be humans sneaking in. I order the two of you to capture the human race as soon as possible. The big bug's words did not give the two of them any room for negotiation. Although Monkey was unwilling, He could only grit his teeth and accept it. "Yes, mother," the two of them said and left with their own thoughts. Along the way, the monkey was silent. Its fists were tightly clenched and shook from time to time. It was obvious that it was still very angry. What the two of them did not know was that as soon as they left the cave, another uninvited guest had appeared. Li Yuanqing looked at the huge worm in front of him, and the shock in his heart could not be any greater. The strength of this huge insect was at the peak of the array formation realm. More importantly, this fellow was not good at fighting. It continuously produced eggs from its body and finally placed them on the walls of these corridors to hatch. It was this thing that continuously absorbed energy to give birth to demon beasts, and then placed them in the space outside to grow. The whole process gave birth to this army of thousands of demon beasts, and their strength was so powerful. Li Yuanqing had already taken the two little fellows in. This place was too dangerous. The two little fellows could not continue to stay here. While Li Yuanqing was observing, a trace of aura suddenly leaked out from his body. The big bug suddenly realized and immediately looked in Li Yuanqing's direction. Li Yuanqing had already retreated quickly at the first moment, but he still felt his head suddenly go dizzy. Fortunately, Li Yuanqing's body defense mechanism was very sensitive. The moment he sensed danger, he immediately opened the mythical realm and teleported himself into the domain space. The two little fellows had been waiting there for a long time. Li Yuanqing suddenly jumped in and fell straight in front of them. Master, what's wrong? Master, are you all right?" The two of them kept shaking Li Yuanqing's body, but it was useless. They had never seen Li Yuanqing in such a sorry state. In their impression, Li Yuanqing seemed to have always been calm and could do anything with ease. There would definitely be no accidents. However, he had actually met such a powerful person today. Could he have beaten his master to such a state? In the cave, the big bug suddenly raised its head and let out a low cry. This low cry was not loud, but it was so clear and firm that it spread to every corner of the maze. All the beasts that could move stopped and quietly accepted the mission given by this mother. Dexiong looked at Monkey in surprise. He had thought that Monkey was being unreasonable. He had thought that Monkey was only trying to fight for a chance to get out, so he had deliberately found such an excuse. However, he hadn't expected that a real human would come in from outside, and that human would be able to escape from his mother's hands. This shouldn't have happened. According to their understanding of the catacombs world, this was clearly a small world that was suppressed. The cultivation of the humans here was very low. Those among them who could reach the spirit transformation realm were already dragons and phoenixes among men, not to mention the array realm or the peak of the array realm. This was a realm that they did not even dare to imagine. How was this possible? However, Monkey's expression was also very heavy at this moment. Clearly, his mother's order was beyond Monkey's expectations.
Honglang, I'm sorry.
I was wrong about you. I just didn't expect what you said to be true. Big Bear looked at Monkey and apologized sincerely. However, the monkey still frowned and said in a deep voice, "Don't talk so much nonsense. This human strength is beyond our imagination. Later on, we have to be more alert and not let anything go wrong. If anything happens to you, 1 foot 11 inches be all alone and that spirit boy will eat me up. Honglang, one knew you wouldn't let go of me even though you always talk about me." The big dumb bear laughed. "Don't talk so much nonsense. You're acting like a human, so mushy." As soon as the monkey finished speaking, its slender legs suddenly jumped. The red figure turned into a red lightning bolt and disappeared into the passageway. In the entire cave maze, the demon beasts were busy looking for them left and right, wantonly spreading the power in their bodies, trying to force these humans out with the random mirror. However, no matter how hard they tried, they really could not find this human. That guy seemed to have flown out of here, but the fact was that they had already sealed the exit. Logically speaking, he should not have been able to escape. However, they had already tried their best, but they still could not catch those two people. Where did those two guys go? Where did they hide? There were 8 caves, and 8 groups of people gathered at the entrance of the cave. There were many, few, 2, some, 3, and even some, only 1. We've already turned the cave upside down, but we didn't find any traces of humans. However, we did find some traces of human aura. A fat boar with big ears carried a black stone with its hooves. The bug gently turned its head and looked at the black stone. It trembled slightly as if something had touched it. The big bug nodded gently and said, "That's right. This is the opportunity. It's this person." However, it seems that there's more than one of them. But we've already searched so much, but we still can't find any trace of them. Where exactly did they hide? What method did these humans use to enter? This is too strange. The big bug pondered for a while and looked at the place where Li Yuanqing had disappeared. There's the aura of a demon. What one mean is that the demons have come to cause trouble. No, the human scent on his body is very pure. He should be a human. However, why did it have the aura of the demon race? It seemed to be a magical artifact refined from the demon race's supreme treasure. Then what does Mother mean? He's just hiding somewhere in this space. All of you, focus. If he shows himself, find him. Understood. Just as everyone was about to retreat, the big bug suddenly said, "Spirit child, stay behind." Monkey was just about to leave when he suddenly couldn't hold it in anymore when he heard that. He stood there and turned half of his face to look in the direction of a cave entrance, gritting his teeth. There was a guy with a human appearance there. This person's face was white and his body was slender. He also had a ghostly smile on his face from time to time. He was simply no different from a human. Compared to the ugly appearance of the other demons, this guy was much better looking. Moreover, it was very abrupt. For such a person to suddenly appear in the middle of so many powerful demons, the guy who looked like a patriarch was really strange. The smile on the spirit child's face never seemed to fade away. He bowed slightly at the big bug and looked at the monkey and the big bear with contempt. "Now that the attack outside has been hindered, I'm going to send you out to lead the various troops so that our demon army can break through the human cities as soon as possible and find a place for us to stay." This spirit boy was only at the 7th level of the array formation realm, but he was abnormally valued. "Thank you for your reward, Mother. I will definitely lead my troops to conquer Sea City as soon as possible." Monkey listened to the movements behind him as he walked, feeling a little upset. What was so strong about this fellow? It was just that he was a little eloquent. In terms of strategy, he was not inferior to him at all. Moreover, he had such a big stupid bear as a helper. With the two of them relying on each other, they could kill this spirit boy without leaving a single piece of armor behind. However, his mother trusted this guy so much. It was just that this guy's transformation was relatively complete, and he looked like a human gigolo. "You only know how to talk. How disgusting." The stupid bear hurriedly blocked behind Monkey, trying to block the sound. "I don't dare to say this much. If it's heard, it's over. Since we can't find this human for me to see, the two of us can go out on our own. With our strength, we can take Sea City as soon as possible." The big dumb bear didn't expect him to be so rebellious. He thought that if he sneaked away now, wouldn't it be against his mother's will? How can this be? Mother asked us to find that human. If we leave our posts now, we will definitely be punished when we return. On the other hand, one have waited for hundreds of years. Wouldn't that be? Monkey looked at him coldly and said, "You only need to say whether you're coming with me or not. It's such a good opportunity to make a name for yourself. If the two of us take down Haiqing, not to mention Pingqing and Chengdu, we'll just be able to get there easily. But this is too dangerous. What are you afraid of? Do you want to stay here and look for a human that you can't catch? But didn't you say that a human had snuck in? There are humans here in the first place. We will definitely be able to find them. Wasn't it a great merit to capture this human? You can sense the existence of that human. This is a huge advantage for us. We can find it earlier than others." Monkey bared his teeth and glared at him. "Stop dreaming. One didn't sense any humans here at all. One was just looking for an excuse. One wanted to go out, but Mother didn't listen to me. He wanted little Daoist Lin to go out no matter what. Now, one can't let the limelight be stolen by him alone. What about Mother? What if she was attacked? Don't worry. That person was immediately injured after coming into contact with Mother. I'm afraid that he has fled to some place to recuperate. In addition, we can't find him. Now is the time to go out and take down those ant-like humans. When he returned, he might even be surrounded. Wouldn't this guy be great? The big stupid bear was very hesitant, but after hearing what his good brother said, he felt that it was true. He looked at Monkey with a conflicted expression and said, "Is it really okay for us to do this?" If his mother found out, he would be sentenced to death. Think about it. If one go out on my own, won't you be inhumane inside and out? Come with me honestly. Now is not the time to think so much. The big dumb bear hesitated for a long time, but it finally had no other choice. It could only grit its teeth and stomp its feet as the two of them hurriedly headed for the exit. At the exit of the cave, a group of people led by the spirit child had gathered. Everyone must remember that this trip to the demon realm is for the glory of our race. We must sweep the demon realm as soon as possible and welcome Mother, the sacred sovereign. Sweep the demon realm and welcome the sacred sovereign. Sweep the demon realm and welcome the sacred sovereign. The chants continued to resound in the corridor. There didn't seem to be many people gathered below, but the people led by the spirit boy were all powerful people. Their intelligence was much stronger than the demon beasts outside. Although those fast-paced guys outside seemed to be quite powerful, many of them were illusory. For example, they were now trapped by a small river and sent a lot of food to the demon beasts in the river. It was the disorderly advance that caused their overall plan to be greatly hindered. This was also the reason why the big bug sent the spirit child out. It needed a strong leader to establish order outside as soon as possible so that they could break through the shackles and take down the demon realm. The spirit boy looked at his subordinates with satisfaction. Fi had carefully selected these people. First of all, they were in good spirits. If Hong Lang and Hui Shan saw this, they would be so angry that their faces would turn red. He coughed lightly, turned around, and walked towards the exit. With a step, he disappeared into the light screen. Soon after, the others followed his footsteps and stepped into the light screen one by one, leaving from here. This was the official opening of the expedition. This journey, which could only be successful and could not fail, would bring them great glory. After the large group of people had passed, the guards gathered outside the exit decreased significantly. Only 2 people were left to guard the exit. The light on the vortex had also dimmed significantly. One of the 2 demons had a huge bull's head. His body actually looked like a human's. His muscles were also very strong, and his shoulders were as broad as a door. The other one had a horse's head and 2 big eyes that were hanging in the eye sockets. It had a slender figure, and although its muscles were not particularly exaggerated, it was still considered fit. The 2 of them were guarding the cave with weapons in their hands. They didn't have any particularly important tasks. They were mainly responsible for opening and closing the door carefully and not letting any strange things run out. It was said that humans had entered the cave. Such a big thing couldn't go wrong now. Just as the 2 of them were bored to death, 2 aggressive generals suddenly walked over in a hurry. These 2 people were the monkey and the big stupid bear. The moment the 2 of them arrived, they urgently urged, "Hurry up and open the door. The spirit boy has forgotten something very important. We have to hurry out and tell him that this is extremely urgent." Bullfleet and Horseface looked at Hong Lang in confusion. "But General Flong Lang, we didn't receive your order to leave." Monkey slapped his face and stared at him with wide eyes. "Bastard, do you think I would lie to you at a time like this?" "General, please calm down. I definitely didn't mean that. I'm just saying." The bull-headed man was about to defend himself when the bear suddenly grabbed his hand. De Xiong said sympathetically, "I say, Hong Lang, don't be so impatient. He's just following the rules. He's just following the rules. Why did you slap him? What's going on?" Monkey replied angrily, "This matter is so critical. If anything goes wrong, who can bear the responsibility? Neither of us can bear the responsibility. Do you expect the 2 of them to be responsible for this?" The monkey and the big bear started quarreling here. It seemed like they had a conflict. The 2 of them were quarreling very loudly. The commotion was terrifying. The 2 guys who were there were so scared that they didn't dare to speak when they heard the 2 of them quarreling so seriously. "I'm not saying that this matter is not important," Taoyuan Shan said helplessly. "What I mean is that they are doing their job here. At least explain things clearly to them. They will naturally understand. How can they be happy with your temper?" "I still have to explain it properly. If it was in the past, I would have slapped them directly. they would have lost their lives, yet they still dare to block my way here. Oxhead and Horseface were standing at the side. They were almost scared out of their wits when they heard the two generals quarreling. The two of them did not even dare to breathe loudly. They could only wait there obediently, as if they were about to be judged by someone. Seeing that there was a certain gap between the two generals' quarrels, Oxhead hurriedly came up and said, "Generals, if you have important arrangements, then quickly leave. This one will open the door now. This one was too talkative just now. This one deserves to die." "How can you say that?" Dexiong looked at him with dissatisfaction. Bullhead was stunned again. He didn't even know what these two generals wanted him to do. He had just said a few inappropriate words and was beaten up. Now, he was going to let them do as they pleased. Could it be that he had done something wrong again? Before the bullhead could speak, the big bear looked at him and said, "You're doing your job. You didn't do anything wrong. How can you change your previous behavior just because the two of us came here? General is right. I'm saying that you've done very well. After I return, 1 foot 11 inches ask Imperial Mother for credit for you." The bullhead was overjoyed and hurriedly prostrated on the ground. "Thank you for your reward, General." "Hey." Dexiong helped him up. "Don't be in a hurry to thank me. One still have something to tell you. You have to remember this well. Don't make any mistakes. General, if you have anything to say, please tell me. I will definitely remember it in my heart. There will definitely be no mistakes." Big Bear and Monkey looked at each other and transmitted their voices into the bull's ears. "Our trip this time is an absolute secret. We can't let anyone know. We can't let anyone know where we are. Do you understand?" The bull-headed man hurriedly nodded. "You can't tell anyone about this? If anyone asks, just say that you don't know anything. General, don't worry. This lowly one has already remembered this matter." "Good, one didn't misjudge you. You're still very reliable. When we return, we'll definitely reward you." "Thank you, General." After obtaining the guarantee, the bullhead was full of enthusiasm. He called out to his brothers, and the two of them opened the door very smoothly. They waited for the two generals to leave. Monkey stepped through the door without a word and disappeared. Big Bear even deliberately stayed behind to smile at the two of them. The two of them thought that Dexiong would put in a good word for them after he left. They were already overjoyed and began to imagine their good days in the future. As long as they had the recommendation of these two generals, they would still need to open the door here in the future. Perhaps their strength would increase greatly. Then, they would become a small general, and their days would be much better than now. Just as the two of them were having fun, Dexiong stepped into the teleportation door and disappeared. Just as they were about to close the door, they suddenly felt another fluctuation from the door. It was as if another person had walked out from inside. Oxhead was stunned for a moment. He turned around and asked his brother curiously, "Weren't there only two generals who went out just now?" "Are you stupid?" the horse said angrily. "There must be only two of them. Could there be three more?" "There are indeed two of them, but why did I feel that just now?" "Cut the crap and quickly close the door. This is a critical moment. If that human escapes, we won't be able to bear the consequences." The two brothers worked together to close the exit again. The originally bright door once again fell into a dull color. In the small secret realm outside, Monkey and Dexiong immediately hid to the side after coming out. They looked at the spirit child who was lecturing in the center of the secret realm from afar. "I've taken a brief look at the situation outside. The main obstacle we're facing now is this river. As long as we cross this river, the human cities behind us are nothing to worry about. Although there are not many powerful demon beasts in the upper layer of this river, there are many vicious things in the deep layer. It's best if we don't provoke them. I've already ordered people to build a pontoon bridge as soon as possible." The spirit child was like an old cadre, standing on a small hill, surrounded by the elites of their race. Just as he said this, he suddenly raised his head and looked towards the teleportation formation. Monkey hurriedly retracted his body and cursed in his heart. This spirit boy's nose was better than anything else. Not far behind them, Li Yuanqing, Lu Wan, and Yang Tianqi stood there quietly. "Master, these guys are so sensitive. Just now, I just revealed a little bit of my aura and was almost discovered. Li Yuanqing lowered his head and patted Lu Wen's head. This is just a corner of this world where the strong prey on the weak. When you can walk out of it in the future, you will be able to see the power and complexity of the outside world. Master, it looks like they're planning to launch a general attack. Moreover, these guys seem to be quite powerful. If they fight into the city, will Sister Yi be able to withstand them? Li Yuanqing also saw through the plans of these people. These demons were no longer satisfied with the slow speed of advancement at hand. They wanted to raise the overall speed quickly. Originally, the headless flies were easy to deal with, but after they had a leader, this huge force was too worrying. Even Li Yuanqing himself might not be able to guard the place, let alone Yi Qilua. The current situation was not optimistic. We have to stop them. Yang Tianqi's brows were tightly knitted. His face was like a bitter gourd. Now that he was in trouble, he couldn't think of a way to deal with it. But Master, these demons are so powerful. It feels like every single one of them is above the array realm. I've never seen so many array realm experts before. Li Yuanqing's gaze suddenly fell on the two people who were arguing in front of him. Hong Lang, I've paid a lot for coming out with you. You can't mess around. Tell me, are you going or not? Aren't you messing around? We had originally planned to wait for the soldiers below to complete their repairs before taking down the human cities one by one. This was the order. Now that you suddenly said that you wanted to take action yourself, if we failed, then the matter of the two of us coming out would be exposed. At that time, the spirit child would report it to Mother, and we would both be in trouble. De Xiong paced back and forth anxiously behind the rock. Originally, the two of them had come out to look for an opportunity. It would be best if they could make a name for themselves. However, if they really couldn't, they would just give up and go back, as if nothing had happened. However, this stinky monkey suddenly said that he would take down that human city before the spirit child. This was too arrogant. Those humans were not stupid. They would not sit still and wait for death. How could they give up such a good city so easily? Moreover, according to their intelligence, there was still a very powerful person among the human race. Right now, they had yet to obtain any information about this person. If they acted rashly at this moment, they would probably not gain any benefits at all and would instead be in danger. If it was really like what this monkey said and he was courting death, then there would really be no way out. Hong Lang looked at his companion unhappily and lectured, "What are you afraid of? Wasn't I always the one at the front? You just need to follow me obediently, and 1 foot 11 inches make sure that nothing will happen to you. Besides, with the two of us, we can take down Sea City Base. Don't you have any confidence? How can you say that? We're a team. I've trusted you for so many years, but now, just say it. Whether you want to go or not, just give me a straightforward answer. Don't say anything else. Can't we just follow the original agreement and take it slowly? Why are you in such a hurry? Then you can wait here slowly. I can't give all the credit to the spirit boy." Returning to the demon realm once again, Li Yuanqing actually felt a long-lost pleasure. It was as if he had stayed in the space for a long time, and his mind had also changed a little. After coming back, he felt that everything was pleasing to the eye. Although there was still a dilapidated mountain range next to him, it seemed that nothing had changed. The environment was still so bad. However, the trip to the cave this time seemed to have made them grow a lot, whether it was Li Yuanqing or the two little fellows. The two little fellows seemed to be a little different from before. Monkey and De Xiong were nowhere to be seen. They were nowhere to be found. "Master, do you think we can really do this? If they come back to their senses and discover our plan, wouldn't everything be ruined?" Lu Wen was faintly worried. To be honest, the plan that his master had just come up with sounded a little too risky. Li Yuanqing had indeed thought of a way to stop them from attacking further, but this method required the use of the demons under the river. This sounded too risky. How could he place all his hopes on the enemy? Wasn't this an act of waiting for death? They were now at the edge of the river. In front of them was the rolling river. Many demon beasts were blocked by this river. They stopped outside and waited for an opportunity. Under orders from the rear, they had stopped their suicidal charge and were waiting for news from the front line that they could attack. A sturdy grizzly bear was crawling in its own territory, slowly breathing, very leisurely. A person suddenly appeared on his back. Li Yuanqing slowly took out the magic crystal square platform and directly landed on the head of the big grizzly bear. Before the grizzly bear realized what was happening, it suddenly felt a huge pressure on its head, making it hard for it to breathe. He hurriedly raised his head and stretched out his claws to counterattack, but it was too late. The demonic crystal square platform directly shattered his divine soul. The spirit transformation realm peak stage grizzly bear did not even make a sound before it fell to the ground and died. Li Yuanqing waved his hand, and the grizzly bear's corpse disappeared on the spot. 2 hours later, at the bottom of the river, 2 people appeared in front of a huge palace. The leader was a huge bear, and beside him stood a slender monkey. The monkey was still not used to its new body. It looked up, down, left, and right as it walked. It clearly looked like a human. Big Bear patted Monkey twice. Monkey pretended to bend his knees and assume the appearance of a monkey. It didn't feel like it, but it didn't matter now. Only after the 2 of them stood there for a while, a shrimp soldier rushed out with a long spear in his hand. He glared at the 2 of them and shouted, "Who are you?" The big bear arrogantly said to the shrimp soldier, "Cut the crap and quickly call your king out to meet me." "What an arrogant fellow. Where did you come from? How dare you shout here? Do you know where this place is?" The big bear raised his palm and waved it forward, sending the shrimp soldier flying away with a strong wave of water. The shrimp soldier bumped into a stone pillar 100 m away and finally stopped. After waking up, he immediately rolled and crawled towards the stone pillar. Report. Great King. Not good, Great King. On the way, the shrimp soldier threw away his helmet and armor, leaving nothing but his clean body. With a plop, he fell in front of a weird-looking guy. This guy was tall and had a human head, but his entire body emitted a strange smell. First of all, there were 2 thick dragon whiskers on its mouth and 2 long green horns on its forehead. Its body did not look like a human's. Moreover, its body was covered in fine scales. Its abdomen was extremely long and narrow, and there was a thick tail hanging behind it. This fellow's entire body was covered in a green color. The scales on his body were still sparkling under the illumination of the night pearl beside him. "What are you making a fuss about?" The azure dragon slowly opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of turbid air. Then, he stuffed a shiny inner core into his mouth. During this period of time, those demon beasts had continuously come in to die, but they had given him a lot of good things, allowing him to obtain a lot of demon cores. Most of these demon cores were very rich in spiritual power, which directly gave him a wave of great strength. The azure dragon ate these demon cores almost every day. As long as his body could withstand it, he would keep eating. Now, he could already vaguely touch the threshold of the 6th grade of the array formation realm. The shrimp soldier hurriedly reported, "Your Majesty, 2 extremely arrogant guys came from above. They slapped me without saying anything. They almost killed me. It seems that they want to break into the Dragon Palace. Your Majesty, what should we do?" Only then did the azure dragon turn around. His eyes revealed 2 rays of bright light. "Why do these demons want to pass through this monk so badly? Why are they still looking for trouble?" Azure Dragon had been waiting for those demons to send people over to negotiate. After all, they were all demons. Now that someone had gone out to attack the cities occupied by the humans, it was actually a good thing for him. After all, those were originally the territories of the demon race. Although there were disputes between the demon race, it was still much better than the human race. These humans were all incomparably greedy. They were simply insatiable. They kept taking from the river like a bottomless pit. As long as these humans flourished, the demons would not have a good life at all. Even though the competition between them was more intense, it was still better than raising such a group of demons. In his vision, the 2 sides should have a very good cooperative relationship, but why did those people come to his door now? This is too weird, too weird. What do they look like? What are you here for? Didn't you say why you came? One of them is a guy with red fur, and the other is tall and strong, like a small mountain. The prawn soldier shouted. "They didn't say anything when they came up. They just attacked me. Obviously, they didn't put our dragon palace in their eyes. They wanted to declare war. My king? They didn't say anything?" Those two said they wanted to see the king. Humph, bring the two of them in. Not long after, the big stupid bear and monkey appeared in the spacious and bright hall of the dragon palace. Their cultivation was unfathomable, and no matter how they probed, they could not find out. The two of them stood in front of Green Dragon and stared at him arrogantly. "I'm warning you, you'd better not stop us from doing what we want to do. Otherwise, what will happen to you in the end? I think you should know in your heart that those who provoke our clansmen usually die very miserably." Azure Dragon did not fall for this at all. He originally wanted to have a good talk with the two of them, but in the end, the two of them were so arrogant. "Good." Azure Dragon gnashes his teeth and says, "It really is you. You are not from the demon realm. You came all the way here, and now you want to occupy our territory? That's really arrogant." Dexiong said to him in an unquestionable tone, "I didn't come here to discuss with you. One just want you to tell your subordinates to stop causing trouble and let my soldiers go. Maybe we can let you go after we take Sea City Base. Otherwise, we can take Sea City Base, your river, and your dragon palace." Ha ha ha. Azure Dragon heard the big bear's arrogant words and couldn't help but raise his head and laugh. "Why don't you take a look at where you are now? You're in my dragon palace, and you're saying such arrogant words. Aren't you afraid that I'll kill you too here?" Dexiong suddenly raised his hand and took out a metal cudgel. He then stabbed it down heavily. After a series of earth-shaking, the entire palace of the Dragon Palace had been investigated. A big hole was smashed out, and the gravel and debris beside it fell into the hole. It was stirred up by him. The mud below was also brought up, making the originally clear river bottom muddy. By the time Azure Dragon reacted, the big bear had already landed 1,000 feet above him. "The two of us are here to warn you not to cause any more trouble. If you meddle in other people's business again, it won't be such a simple warning next time. You'd better behave yourself." After saying that, he disappeared from the Azure Dragon's vision. Azure Dragon had invited the two of them in to negotiate. He did not set up any ambush at all. Although there was also an array in the Dragon Palace, they did not even have time to activate it. This guy was the first to complain and pulled out his rod, smashing the Dragon Palace. The central hall of the Dragon Palace was smashed into pieces. The palaces beside it were also more or less affected. Murky water gradually spread out. The Azure Dragon is sitting on his toppled dragon throne in a sorry state. His two eyes are emitting a blood-red light as he stares in the direction where the two of them have left. "Great King, how can one tolerate it? Your Majesty, please give the order. We must take revenge. King, these outsiders are too much." Although Azure Dragon was very young, it was precisely because of his youth that he was hot-blooded. Now that someone had smashed a hole in Dragon Palace in front of him, if he could swallow this anger, he was afraid that he would not be able to survive in this place in the future. "Good job, you guys." Azure Dragon shouted sharply, "Gather 100,000 soldiers." On the other side of the river, the monkey turned around and looked at its own kind who had already turned into small dots. Its eyes revealed a smug expression. There was no one in Sea City Base who could stop them. If the two of them moved out as soon as possible, they could take down Sea City Base directly. By then, the demons in the river would have to obey even if they didn't want to negotiate. Their plan was perfect, but they did not expect that after the two of them sneaked in, someone would run over unscrupulously. "Honglang, are you sure you want to make a move? Do you know that those humans are especially good at array formations? If they manage to defend, what should the two of us do?" Monkey said impatiently, "It's already come to this. What's the point of wasting time? The sooner we get it, the sooner we can return and make contributions. But I'm not sure. I keep feeling that there's something wrong. Cut the crap. How about this? We'll go over and spend half a day to figure out the situation there. After half a day, we'll directly take down their city lord. Without the city lord, these humans would be leaderless and immediately fall into chaos. At that time, they could be easily destroyed." Although Big Bear still had some doubts in his heart, Monkey's suggestion was still very good. At the very least, his goal was very clear. As long as he took down the city lord of the human race, everything would become simple. "All right, you have to remember that when the time comes, we can't cause any more trouble. Our target is their city lord. As long as we take down this city lord, we'll have control of the city. You can still understand with your brain. Monkey turned his head and looked at Xiong teasingly. Let's transform first and sneak into the city. After the two finished their discussion, they headed straight for Sea City Base. In the past, a lot of demon poison had been dropped on the roads nearby. Now, they had to calm down and wait for the reinforcements to arrive. There was a human fortress in the middle of the two sides. Many humans were guarding it. They had built such a huge fortress to temporarily block the demons here, so that the humans in the city had not discovered the danger of war. However, a fortress of this level was like air to Monkey and the other two. The two of them only needed to restrain their auras slightly before they could sneak over without anyone noticing. Behind the two of them, there was another ghostly figure. It was Li Yuanqing. One after the other, they ran toward Sea City Base. It didn't take them long to arrive outside Sea City Base. The monkey and the bear secretly transformed into two human-like creatures. Although they still looked a little strange, they could barely blend in. Moreover, there were already many demons in Sea City. They had killed a rich merchant outside the city, and he had brought a follower with him. He took off their clothes, put them on himself, and swaggered into the city. Sea City Base was bustling with noise, and it was even livelier than before Li Yuanqing left. Sea City Base is really lively because of them. But it won't be long before this place becomes our territory. The merchant and his followers stood at the edge of the market, looking at the bustling crowd inside. The two of them were muttering to themselves. At this moment, a peddler carefully came over and asked the two of them, "Are you two interested in buying something? Although my store is a little small, it has everything you want. Why don't you come and take a look?" The merchant's expression was calm. His eyes were wide open, and his aura scared the stall owner away. He put on such an air, but he did not say anything. He just stared at the others, making them quite afraid. The stall owner retreated silently. After retreating far enough, he dared to grumble. "Why are you wandering around here if you're not buying? It's quite scary." "What did you say?" Hearing his words, the follower wanted to rush up and beat them up, but he was stopped by the rich businessman behind him. "Hong Lang, don't be so impulsive." The merchant looked around and carefully said to his attendant, "Since you've already planned it, we should follow the plan. Now, we should find their city lord's position first. Don't cause trouble. If they become suspicious and hide in advance, it will be difficult for us." It turned out that these two people were the duo formed by the big bear and the monkey. The two of them had sneaked into Sea City to sneak into the city lord's mansion and capture Yi Chilua alive. At that time, they would use Yi Chilua to order all the humans and demons in the city to bring the clansmen who were following them here. Although the density of spiritual energy in the demon realm was still somewhat different from the environment they lived in, this was a benefit that had fallen into their hands for no reason. It was definitely best to land safely in their hands. After walking around the place, the two of them felt that their plan was very good. With Sea City Base's strength, they didn't need the troops behind them. They only needed the two of them, and they could easily take care of all these people. It was laughable that his mother had made this matter so complicated and even made the spirit child, that good-for-nothing, personally take charge of this attack. It was simply useless. That trash, spirit boy, was still tangled up with that group of demonic beasts inside. When Monkey thought of this, he felt smug. He felt that his decision to sneak out was too wise. If he had really listened to his mother's words and was still honestly looking for that human that he could not touch, how could this credit have fallen into his hands? Now, he had earned a lot. After a simple discussion, the two of them did not argue with the stall owner. Instead, they walked towards a small stall surrounded by a large crowd. They squeezed into the crowd and came closer, only to find that it was a small stall on the ground. There was only a large rag in this place. There were some simple lines drawn on this rag, but it was unknown what it was used for. He saw a person sitting behind the waterfall with a small bowl in his hand. At this time, he was mumbling. "This bowl of mine can isolate all spiritual senses. No matter how powerful a person is, even if the heavens come, they won't be able to see how many stones there are in this bowl. As long as you can guess whether there are odd or even numbers in this bowl, I'll give you these 50 spirit stones with both hands." After muttering to himself, The man pretended to take out a few small stones. Then, he changed them very pretentiously and stuffed them under the bowl. However, he seemed to have deliberately left a gap before stuffing it in, so that people could see that there were clearly 5 stones in the bowl. At some point, 2 people had stood beside the monkey duo. The 2 of them crossed their arms in front of their chests and chatted happily. This is definitely an even number. What a pity. If one had bet a little spirit stones just now, these 50 spirit stones would have been mine. Who says so? I was just about to bet on it, but his hands closed too quickly. One think it's an even number. When the big bear heard what the 2 of them said, he couldn't help but squat in front of the stall and point at the small bowl. There are clearly only 5 stones down here. At this moment, everyone's gaze fell on him. The stall owner raised his head and stared at Dexiong. Fellow Taoist, this small bowl of mine can isolate all divine senses. I can't sense anyone. How can you know how many stones are inside? Big Bear pointed at the bowl and said, Stop talking nonsense. There are 5 stones in here. Hurry up and open it. The vendor covered his bowl and said, You haven't even bet on spirit stones yet. Even if you guess correctly, these 50 spirit stones of mine aren't yours. Someone immediately echoed, That's true. You didn't take out any spirit stones, so it's useless to say that it's an odd number. The stall owner took the opportunity to say, Take out 10 spirit stones and put them on the table. If the number in this bowl is odd, then the 50 spirit stones in my hand will be yours. If it's even, then the 10 spirit stones in your hand will be mine. With the big bear's temper, he had never been urged by a group of humans with such low cultivation in his life. He immediately took out 10 spirit stones and pressed his palm on the rag of the stall owner. I don't believe it. Your bottom line is clearly odd. Hurry up and bring me those 50 spirit stones. As soon as Dexiong's hand left the spirit stones, the stall owner's long and narrow arm immediately reached over and held the 10 spirit stones tightly in his arms. Then, he casually put away the small bowl and took out a large pile of stones in his hand. After shaking them for a while, he stuffed them back into the small bowl. Dexiong was dumbfounded as he watched the stall owner operate the bowl. In the end, when he opened the bowl, there were 8 stones inside. Fellow Taoist, you're wrong. The stall owner smiled sinisterly. He looked at Dexiong as if he was looking at a silly prey. Dexiong finally realized that he had fallen into this person's trap. In a fit of anger, he stood up and pointed at the person's nose, wanting to make a move. However, when he thought about the purpose of the 2 of them coming here, he had to preserve his strength now. He could not let anyone discover him, but he could not act on his own. You're cheating. We said that there were 5 stones in the bowl just now, but you put away the stones and put 8 more stones in. You're clearly lying. The vendor also said righteously, What do you mean by lying? You put the spirit stones here, and I put the stones. If you guess correctly, the 50 spirit stones will be yours. If you guess wrong, then your spirit stones will be mine. You're talking nonsense. You were clearly lying to me just now. Hurry up and return the spirit stones, or don't blame me for being rude. Io, you still want to be impolite? The stall owner's face was extremely arrogant. Do you know what this place is? How can you be arrogant in this place? If you have the guts, then do it. Our market has a clear rule that no one is allowed to fight. Anyone who causes trouble here will die. I advise you to be honest. The stall owner laughed even more happily. Even Monkey, who was faintly observing the 2 people beside him, could not hide the smile on his face. Dexiong looked at a passerby and said, You saw it, right? He cheated just now. His bowl clearly had odd numbers. He stuffed even numbers into it to cheat me of my spirit stones. The stall owner took the opportunity to say to everyone, If anyone feels unconvinced, you can come and suppress them. When they heard that they were going to bet spirit stones, everyone present took a small step back. They looked at Dexiong and Houzi warily, as if Dexiong and Houzi were hired by the stall owner. Just as Dexiong was about to pursue the matter further, Monkey pulled him out. The 2 of them hurriedly left the crowd. Li Yuanqing watched from afar. He didn't find it funny when he saw these 2 fellows being fooled for no reason. He followed the 2 of them and slowly chased after them. When they arrived at a quiet corner of the market, the 2 of them finally stopped. Why are you pulling me? Let me go back and kill that bastard now. That ant-like human dared to lie to me? Do you know who I am? Any hair of this general can crush 10 of his lives to death. Monkey glared at him unhappily and said, You know he's just an ant. So why are you still so calculative with him? It's just 10 spirit stones, and it's nothing at all. Yet you're so angry. I think your temper is getting worse. Is that about the spirit stones? Dexiong shouted anxiously. It's that bastard. He lied to me. No one can lie to me in this life. Those who lie to me will die without a doubt. No one can. After Dexiong vented his anger, his mood seemed to have improved a lot. Monkey stood at the side and watched him shout for a while before saying, Are you done? I'll remember this guy. After I take this place, I'll extract the soul of this thing and refine it into a puppet. I'll torture him 1,000 times every day and let him live for 500 years. He'll be tormented in purgatory every day and never be reincarnated. Monkey shook his head helplessly. He originally thought that he was the one who had acted impulsively. He did not expect that the big bear would be treated as a toy and played with. He was so angry that he almost ruined the plan. Monkey suddenly glanced at a small stall on the side and felt that something was amiss. The stall wasn't big. It was a very small place. In front of it were two people. One of them was dressed in green clothes. Qingshan looked very ordinary. The other was dressed simply. These two people didn't look special. Moreover, their cultivation was ordinary. Monkey had clearly felt that there was something there, but no matter how carefully he looked at it now, these two fellows did not seem to have anything. After carefully marking it for a while, Monkey finally gave up. Thinking about it, he seemed to have made a mistake. He couldn't explain why he had that dangerous feeling just now. What are you doing? I don't think there's anything worth paying attention to in this market. Let's go and capture their city lord now. Don't waste so much time with them. Monkey also agreed with this plan. They had already wasted enough time here. If they did not get down to business, they would have to delay for who knew how long. It's nothing. I just felt that something was wrong just now. After the two of them finished their discussion, they left the market in a hurry. They had originally wanted to come here to understand the lives of these humans. In the end, they did not expect to be played by someone as soon as they arrived. The two of them didn't have much patience to deal with these fancy things. They just wanted to take down Sea City Base as soon as possible. City Lord Manor. Is young Master Li really back now? Why didn't he come over? Yi Qiluo was dressed in armor, pacing around anxiously. The man-eating vine replied, There are two very powerful demons there. They have already sneaked in. Master is thinking of getting rid of those two guys first. Moreover, they seem to be coming for you. Will young Master Li be all right? If those two demons were really that powerful, would young Master Li know how to do it? Sister, don't worry. Since Master dared to let the two of them in, it means that he already has a plan in his heart. Nothing will happen. Those two people are already coming over here. One believed that they will arrive at the city lord's estate soon. Master is also following behind the two of them. Mingluan, I'm here. Tell everyone to be on high alert. Don't go out and don't leak any information. Understood. Captain Mingluan hurriedly retreated. They had long been prepared for this. When Li Yuanqing returned, he had already secretly reminded the man-eating vines. The two of them had already communicated about this plan, so it was naturally not a problem now. Outside the city lord's estate, the merchant and attendant that Big Bear and Monkey had transformed into had already arrived beside the city lord's estate. They were quietly waiting outside. The two of them sat in a tea house and looked at the city lord's estate opposite them. How should we enter later? It didn't matter if he charged in from the front or from the side. Dexiong looked at the structure of the city lord's mansion. This place did not pose much pressure to them. The reason why they were guarding here was because they had not seen anyone come out of the city lord's mansion for a long time. They were not sure if the city lord was inside. There's no hurry. When someone comes out later, let's bring two people over first to figure it out. The two of them were drinking tea in high spirits, but they did not notice that the space around them had become increasingly quiet for some reason. Just a moment ago, there were still the sounds of people chatting and laughing beside them. However, in this short period of time, there was no sound at all. Silence, 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 silence. Dexiong looked around curiously. He didn't know what was wrong, but he felt uncomfortable everywhere. Monkey frowned and suddenly took out his long rod. He looked around vigilantly. Hong Lang, what's wrong? Something is wrong. Hurry up and take back your weapons. If they see us, our identities will be exposed. The monkey suddenly raised its head and swung it to the side. He thought that he had only hit air, but he did not expect his rod to hit a hard place. With a clang, the two of them instantly pulled apart after a short contact. The monkey felt as if his rod had smashed into an iron wall. Not only did it not make the other party retreat, but it also made him take 2 steps back before stabilizing himself. Li Yuanqing appeared with a long black staff in his hand and looked at the two of them quietly. Big Bear understood what was going on and immediately took out his 2 axes. Where did this little thief come from? How dare he ambush us? Li Yuanqing smiled and looked at them. It was you two who secretly came here to do some bad things, right? I just happened to catch you here. Good fellow. Big Bear rubbed his 2 axes against each other and said, You found out long ago. I didn't expect Sea City Base to have so many capable people. One didn't expect someone as powerful as you to exist here. We thought everyone here was a bunch of useless people. Stop talking nonsense with him. Let's get rid of this kid first. According to our intelligence, there's only one array formation realm warrior in Sea City Base, and it might be him. As long as we kill him, the entire Sea City Base will be in our hands. Just as the two of them were about to make a move, the scene in front of them suddenly changed. It turned into a vast and boundless sea. The two of them stepped on air and almost fell into the sea. There were also incomparably ferocious demon beasts quietly whimpering in the sea, waiting for the two of them to fall into the sea and swallow them up as delicacies. The two of them stabilized their bodies and gritted their teeth as they looked at the changes in the scene beside them. They did not know when they had fallen into an illusion. Good heavens, you humans are indeed incomparably cunning. You actually have such a powerful illusion technique. As Monkey spoke, he waved his silver staff and transformed into a bolt of lightning. He directly arrived in front of Li Yuanqing. He jumped up high with the staff in his hand and swung it down heavily. The force of this staff was imbued with 1,000 caddies. It was bound to smash Li Yuanqing into powder. However, Li Yuanqing did not panic. He raised the black rod in his hand with a backhand. His speed suddenly increased to an extremely shocking level, colliding with the rod in Monkey's hand. Both of them were extremely fast, and Li Yuanqing's strength seemed to be even stronger. He actually directly sent Monkey flying. Dexiong only saw a bright red mark in the air. Immediately after, the monkey turned into a rocket and flew into the distance. Li Yuanqing had actually finished off the monkey with a single move. How dare you? Dexiong roared angrily as he brandished the broad axe in his hand. Without a word, he charged towards Li Yuanqing's face. He did not realize that in their intelligence, that so-called human expert was only a 3rd or 4th grade array formation realm fellow. However, this guy in front of them was actually at the 7th level of the array formation realm. This person's strength was above theirs, and his martial arts and cultivation methods were also extremely top-notch. In this confrontation, they could not gain any advantage at all. They even had a chance to win, but Monkey was too anxious and accidentally sent himself away. Only Big Bear was left, so he could only brace himself and charge forward. Li Yuanqing didn't give him any chance to do so. He immediately took out a black square platform. The black platform was so tall that it instantly expanded hundreds of times in the air, becoming like a pavilion in the air, pressing down on the Big Bear's head. Dexiong raised his head in horror and looked at the shadow that shrouded his head. He didn't think about how to deal with Li Yuanqing now. He just wanted to get rid of this thing's control as soon as possible. But it was too late. The power released from the magical crystal platform was like shackles, locking Dexiong's body and stripping him away to reveal his true body. This gigantic grizzly bear was bound by black chains and suspended in midair. Although the grizzly bear was still roaring, it could not break free from the shackles. Bastard! The big bear's mouth was like a gigantic abyssal meat grinder. He breathed out a stream of air from his mouth, turning into a huge hurricane that swept towards Li Yuanqing. A faint yellow light lit up beside Li Yuanqing, directly breaking through this airflow, allowing the airflow that was filled with breath to directly pass by his side and not collide with his body. Li Yuanqing gently lifted the giant bear's body with his right hand and was pulled by the chain into the square platform. He didn't even have the chance to fight back. He was now completely controlled. After dealing with the bear, Li Yuanqing summoned Feng Tai back and hung him on his head. He turned into a flash of lightning and chased after the monkey. Not long after, he found the heavily injured monkey among a pile of rubble. Chains emerged from the square platform again, binding the monkey's body tightly and pulling it up. At this moment, Monkey had no room to resist. He could only forcefully open his eyes by a slit. Monkey looked at Li Yuanqing in despair. He did not know when he had been targeted by such a person. He also did not know when he had fallen into his trap. However, it was already too late to ask now. In such a short period of time, the two brothers had been beaten up to such a state. They had been captured and thrown into prison. They would probably never have the chance to come out again in their lifetime. Li Yuanqing looked at him indifferently and said, "If the two of you can come up with an answer that I'm satisfied with, perhaps I can spare your life." "Humph. Since I'm in your hands, you can kill me or plunder me, so why bother with all the nonsense? My life is worthless anyway, so what if you kill me? Sea City Base will be destroyed sooner or later." Haha. Monkey was about to laugh when he spat out a large mouthful of blood, causing him to choke and cough. Li Yuanqing looked at him leisurely and said, "Do you mean to rely on your mother?" "What?" Monkey widened his eyes and looked at Li Yuanqing in disbelief. He did not know how Li Yuanqing knew about his mother. "You are?" He suddenly thought of himself. For a moment, he felt as if someone had barged into the cave, but he couldn't find that human no matter how hard he tried. Could that human be him? Li Yuanqing didn't answer directly. He only shook his head regretfully. "Although you demons are born with great strength, your brains don't seem to be enough. It's really a pity. You'd better go to the square platform and stay there." Monkey was about to speak when he was suddenly pulled into the square platform by Li Yuanqing. After the square platform spun, it turned into a small shape and fell back into Li Yuanqing's hand. Li Yuanqing had really mastered the use of this magic crystal square platform. After all, it was a magic tool that he had personally refined. Now, he was using it very well. When facing these slightly weaker opponents, it was simply handy. He could successfully control the person in an instant. Li Yuanqing waved his hand, and all these images disappeared, returning to the original appearance of the tea house. However, the tea house was now empty, and there were few people standing below. The boss stood downstairs and watched worriedly, not knowing if anything would happen inside. "What happened up there? Why did you suddenly call us out? What is this for? What else could it be? If you ask me, it's most likely that the demon race has sent people in again. So the people above have made a move. One think we should just blindly interfere. If it affects us, we won't be able to bear the consequences." "That's true, but from the looks of it, there's no movement from above. Are they really fighting? I was thinking of hiding further away, but there was no sound from above. It was really strange." As they were discussing, they suddenly heard footsteps coming from upstairs. They held their breaths and stared at the door quietly. After a while, Li Yuanqing walked out of the shop with the man-eating vines. The two of them talked and laughed as if nothing had happened. "Master, you've been away for so long this time. Did you find anything fun outside or bring anything back?" "How can there be so much fun? There's nothing particularly interesting in this underground warehouse world. In my opinion, it's about the same. However, why is your cultivation still stagnant here? I remember that before I left, you had already reached the bottleneck period. Why are you still stuck here?" The man-eating vine carefully stuck out its tongue and said, "Master, I might be doing this for you." "Why are you doing this for me again?" "I have to help my master take care of the entire Sea City base, so I've been improving my skills in magic formations. Look at how skilled I am in using magic formations now. I pulled the two of them into the illusion without them noticing at all. Your mouth is really getting faster and faster." "Dear guests," the shop owner walked over and looked at the two of them carefully. Li Yuanqing gently patted his shoulder and said, "It's nothing. It was just a misunderstanding just now. The two of them have already left. You guys continue to drink tea." "Sir." Li Yuanqing took out a small cloth bag and stuffed it into the shopkeeper's hand. Thank you for your hard work this time. Thank you for your cooperation. Consider these spirit stones my gift. I hope you don't find it too little. The shopkeeper couldn't help but open the cloth bag. He took a quick glance at it and immediately put it into the monk's arms. Thank you for your reward. It was as if all the questions in his heart had disappeared with the light in the small bag. Master, I should hurry back. Sister Yi has been waiting for you for a long time. Sister Ye's body is much better now. Little girl, why are you becoming more and more cunning? Who taught you? Master, I have to look at so many people from day to night. Every day, there are hundreds of thousands of people talking about all kinds of things in the city. I feel like I'm in a mess now. The two of them chatted and laughed as they came to the city lord's mansion. After they left, the onlookers outside began to discuss softly again. If I'm not wrong, wasn't the woman behind that man the state preceptor? It must be fake. The state preceptor is above everyone else. How can he call someone else master? It can't be fake. I was personally taught a lesson by the state preceptor. That time, she was standing in front of me and I saw it clearly. That person is the state preceptor. What you said is too ridiculous. The state preceptor would never call someone master. If it was really the state preceptor, I would chop off my head and kick it like a ball. Although they were arguing endlessly, no one believed that the person was the legendary state preceptor. After all, in their impression, the state preceptor was an extremely powerful figure. Now that he was being brought by an unknown young man and called him master, it was too terrifying. However, Li Yuanqing had already brought the man-eating vine back to the city lord's mansion. Yi Qilua had already been waiting there for a long time. They were well prepared. Everyone was dressed in military attire, but it was completely useless. Young Master Li, how is it outside? Will they come back? The man-eating vine hugged Yi Qilua's arm and said, Sister Yi, don't be afraid. Those two guys have already been dealt with by Master. They're really too stupid. Master casually took action and put them into the magic tool. Yi Qilua stared at Li Yuanqing. Young Master Li, your cultivation has become deeper. Congratulations, young Master Li. City Lord Ye's complexion is much better now. There shouldn't be any side effects. Just follow my instructions and recover. It's all thanks to young Master Li's guidance. Otherwise, I'm afraid I would have been left with a body full of injuries. That's not worth mentioning. The entire Sea City base is counting on City Lord Yi to take charge of the situation here. Without City Lord Yi, this place would be in a mess. General, bad news? Two monkey-like monsters ran to the spirit child in a panic. The spirit child raised his head and looked at them unhappily. Why are you so flustered? Didn't he give them a lot of benefits? If he really couldn't do it, he would just agree to more. Could they refuse? The spirit child thought that victory was already in his hands, and that it would not be a problem for him to take down those few people. The conditions he offered were too generous. For the demons under the river, they simply did not have the ability to resist such temptation. Giving them such conditions was already a great gift to them. Could they refuse? This time, the main reason was that he did not want to delay the overall speed of the march, so he did not delay and offered a very high price. The two monkeys replied in an aggrieved manner, General, you don't know. The azure dragon inside was extremely arrogant. The two of us had just arrived in front of their dragon palace and had yet to speak when they sent out shrimp soldiers and crab generals to beat us up. If it weren't for the two of us being agile and rushing out from below, we would have been captured alive by them. What is it? That azure dragon dares to be so arrogant? General, everything this subordinate said is true. The two of us were very polite when we arrived, but they didn't give us any chance to speak at all. They directly attacked us. We wanted to tell them about General's conditions, but they didn't give us any chance. The spirit child frowned slightly. He didn't see the azure dragon as a threat at all. To be honest, this azure dragon could be easily dealt with. It was just a small obstacle. As for the human city behind him, whether there was a guardian or not was the most important thing. However, he did not expect to encounter a setback at the first step. The azure dragon was not a concern. It was just that it relied on its natural danger, so it was very arrogant now. If it really fell out with it, it would probably be a big trouble. It would definitely be a great obstacle to the speed of his advance. Did they say why? General, they didn't even say a word and just beat us up. We tried to persuade them, but it was useless. They wouldn't listen. How could that be? The spirit child was having a headache now. The plan had been going smoothly, and the army was ready to set off for Sea City. They had taken Sea City base in the shortest time possible. Even if they could report back, they didn't expect to be stuck here every day. What was the reason? Forget it. Let me make a trip personally. I'll go meet this Azure Dragon and see what kind of confidence it has. The spirit boy waved his sleeves and disappeared from the tent. After a while, he appeared in front of the Dragon Palace at the bottom of the river with his two subordinates. Yeah, eat my fork. The moment the three of them started to fight, a shrimp soldier, which was less than the height of a calf, suddenly jumped out of a crack in the rocks. This little thing suddenly jumped up with its two legs and tightly held a small fork with its four legs. Although it looked pretty imposing, it was not scary at all. The guard beside the spirit boy opened his eyes wide in anger. His chi power instantly spread out, almost scaring the little shrimp soldier. You're courting death. He stretched out his palm and grabbed the little shrimp soldier. He could directly cut the little thing in half. However, he was stopped by the spirit boy. Forget it. Don't be calculative with it. Let it go. The little shrimp curled up and fell into the mud. It looked up at these celestial-like figures. Go back and tell your king that the spirit boy requests an audience. The shrimp rolled and crawled into the dragon palace. After a while, a strong airflow swept over and whistled at the three of them for a while, as if it wanted to blow them away. However, when this bit of power hit the spirit child's body, it was unable to even break through his shield. After the water swept past, a tall man covered in green fish scales appeared in front of the spirit boy. This man had a fierce expression and held a trident in his hand. He stared at the spirit boy and the other two with a fierce gaze. Good heavens, you still dare to come here. I'll say this, as long as I, Azure Dragon, am alive, you can forget about passing through here. The spirit boy frowned slightly and asked Azure Dragon, my subordinate should not have told you the conditions that I have given. You have not even listened to my conditions. Why did you? Cut the crap. I'm not in the mood to negotiate with you. After you guys take down Sea City base, you're going to take me down next. Stop dreaming. You guys will never pass through here in your entire lives. I'll leave my words here. Azure Dragon spoke very arrogantly. He keenly kept a certain distance from the spirit boy because he could feel that the spirit boy was extremely powerful. Even if it was just a simple sense, he could still feel a powerful threat from this guy. The spirit child shook his head and looked at him to confirm, is there really no room for negotiation? Cut the crap. Don't pretend to be a wolf with a big tail. One know your style very well. Just now, your two brothers almost smashed my dragon palace. After saying that, the Azure Dragon suddenly rolled backward and entered the dragon palace with a wave of water. An extremely huge phantom of a green dragon appeared above the dragon palace. Under the support of the array below, this green dragon gradually became corporeal. It was filled with a feeling of power as it glared at the three of them. The spirit child didn't show any fear in front of such a powerful illusion. Instead, he looked straight at that guy and asked, what nonsense are you talking about? One didn't send anyone over before this. What do you think happened to those two people? Azure Dragon burst into laughter. Come on, don't play dumb with me. You're all in cahoots. Seeing that you can't take it down with brute force, you want to negotiate. After the negotiation is over, you'll take the opportunity to kill me. This is your plan. One know it all too well. Don't even think about fooling me again. The spirit boy's eyes gradually turned cold. I've already given you a chance. Are you going to let me go or not? Ha ha ha. Azure Dragon laughed even more brazenly as if he had just heard the funniest joke in the world. You're the one begging me now. Why do you sound like you're going to kill me if I don't let you go? If you have the ability, just do it. If one die in your hands, I'll accept it. Are you really unwilling? Cut the crap. The Azure Dragon suddenly opened his mouth wide, and a water pillar that was several 100 feet thick gradually formed in his mouth. It shot towards the three of them without hesitation. An hour later, The spirit child pinched the azure dragon's blood-stained head and pulled out a green soul. Sir, one was wrong. Let me live. The little azure dragon kneeled in the spirit child's palm and kept kowtowing for mercy, trying to find a chance of survival. However, the spirit child's eyes were extremely cold. He gently clenched his palm and slowly sent his spirit power and consciousness into this small soul. Not long after, the spirit child suddenly clenched his hand, and the small soul directly turned into ashes, leaving nothing behind. Good heavens, it's really the two of you. He looked in the direction of Sea City Base with a cold and gloomy face. General, what happened? Hong Lang and Hui Shan. The spirit child said coldly, in order to snatch this credit, they're really going to do anything. The two of them have already arrived at Sea City. With their strength, I'm afraid they've already taken down Sea City. Then what about us, General? It's fine. The spirit child sneered. So what if they take down Sea City? In the end, it's all my credit. Let's see what you can get by scheming. Pass down the order. All the troops are to cross the river immediately. Yes. The mighty demon beast army rushed over at an extremely fast speed from a pontoon bridge above the river. After they arrived at the land, they immediately launched an attack on the human fortress. The human race had prepared a fortress here. The demon beasts that were originally defending were already exhausted, but now, the number of demon beasts had increased by more than 10 times. He had thought that the demon beasts had decided to retreat during that period of silence, but he did not expect that it was just the beginning of their next wave of attacks. Now, they were attacking even more fiercely, heavily attacking the fortress. General, it's bad. There are 10 times more demons coming this time. Our city walls can't hold on much longer. General, we have to retreat. No matter what, we can't retreat. If we retreat, what will happen to the rear? But if we don't retreat now, we'll be completely wiped out by them. They're coming at us menacingly. They've killed people like flies. More than half of our brothers have already died. The general's face was covered in blood. It was the blood of his brothers. The general who was guarding the fortress was also in pieces. After the first wave of impact, he temporarily retreated and barely survived. However, the demonic beast that was charging at them was simply too ferocious. Even Spirit Boy and the others who were guarding at the back did not make a move and were secretly planning. Even so, this kind of impact was already far from what they could withstand. The spirit child looked coldly at the clansmen who were slaughtering wantonly below. How can it take so long? We can take down this fortress in the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn. Yes, General. A horn sounded. The human generals who were discussing in the fortress felt strange when they heard the demon horn coming from outside. However, they did not expect it to be their death signal. Sea City. City Lord, the fortress ahead can't hold on any longer. The demons are about to attack Sea City. Yi Chilua had already put on her armor, leading the Sea City's generals to gather in the meeting hall. How many demons are there? There are tens of thousands of them. How strong are the leaders? Most of them are above the array formation realm. The voice of the sentry who had returned to report this was trembling. Not a single array formation realm expert had appeared in Sea City, but the demons were all leaders of the array formation realm. How could they resist fighting in the crowd? Everyone present fell silent. They could still rely on the fortress to hold on, but after the fortress was destroyed, what were they going to use to resist these powerful demons? What should he do? City Lord, now is not the time to hesitate. We have to strike first and take the initiative to defend against them outside the city. Otherwise, if we let them approach the city, we will be too passive. That's right. City Lord, please give the order as soon as possible. Let me wait. The soldiers will kill their way out and fight to the death with them. With the powerful power of the city protection array and the soldiers fighting a bloody battle, I think we will definitely be able to resist. Protect the safety of the city. Yi Chilua raised her hand and temporarily suppressed everyone's excitement. They were so enthusiastic at this time, but he didn't know what their intentions were. Everyone, there's no need to say anything else. Now that the demon army is imminent, we must think of a countermeasure as soon as possible. However, we definitely can't kill our way out of the city. We have to defend here and rely on the powerful city protection array to deal with them. If we charge out, I'm afraid that only death awaits us." After Yi Chilua finished speaking, the generals below all had different expressions. They all had their own thoughts. "But City Lord, if we only rely on the city protection array, what should we do if the array is broken by that demon?" That's right. Although the Imperial Preceptor is powerful and this city protection town is unbreakable, the current situation is extraordinary. Isn't it better to take the initiative and not sit here and wait for death? Many of them still advocated to kill their way out of here. Only after they had the initiative could they save their lives. However, Yi Chilua insisted on defending the city, which made them somewhat anxious. "For the safety of the entire Sea City, one must lead my subordinates and fight our way out. We can't wait here for those monsters to slaughter our people. I want to go out too." They were all shouting indignantly, as if they were going to stand up and stop the demons outside Sea City. The entire conference hall was in a mess, and many people had even acted without permission. A bloody head was smashed onto the city wall. The head rolled beside the soldiers' feet. The soldiers took a look and saw that the head covered in blood was the head of the commander of the fortress guards in front. For a moment, many of them were screaming at the top of their lungs. They had never seen such a scene before. A golden shield slowly lit up above the entire city, covering Sea City base like a big bowl and isolating the demons outside. In front of the demons, a muscular bull-like demon stood out. He held a huge axe in his hand and spoke with a buzzing voice. "Little lady, surrender earlier and become my dual cultivation partner. One can save your life. Looking at your delicate appearance, I don't want to destroy you." These demons immediately burst out in ear-piercing laughter. The wall facing the monster clan was filled with guards. Each section had a general leading them. They were evenly spread out. Yi Chilua stood in the middle, looking at the bull in the sky with a cold expression. These generals were already very unwilling to stay here. When they saw the demon army that covered the mountains and plains outside, coupled with the powerful strength of the few people in front of them, they became even more terrified. They had already begun to retreat. Now, they were all thinking about how to escape. Where is the state preceptor? Why isn't the state preceptor here? Who knows? One haven't seen the state preceptor since the beginning. Perhaps they are controlling the city protection array. If it wasn't for the state preceptor guarding this place, I'm afraid we might not be able to guard this place. That's true, but too much time has passed. Could the state preceptor have already left? What nonsense are you talking about? The city lord is still here. How can the imperial tutor leave? Be careful with your words. If they hear you, then, what can't one say? Just now, General Li and the others took their people to somewhere else. You don't know where they went. If it were up to me, we should have left with them. Now, I'm afraid we can't escape even if we want to. All right, one think you guys should stop talking. At this point, you're still harboring ulterior motives. These generals didn't seem to care that there was an army pressing down on them. They were only thinking about when they could escape. Just a few people who were filled with righteous indignation and said that they would go out to fight the enemy had now fled with their soldiers without a trace. Although they were regretful, they probably didn't have the chance to follow him. They could only wait for another opportunity. As for Yi Chilua, since she wanted to stay in this broken place, then let her stay. She was a hopeless person. Although Yi Chilua's expression was very cold, she did not seem to be in a hurry. Instead, she looked at the other party neither servile nor overbearing. The powerful demon seemed to be waiting for something. Seeing that his clamoring was useless, Bull's temper began to gradually become irritable. "Little lady, did you hear that? If you still don't reply, I'm going to knock your city open." At that time, if you want to talk about conditions, there's no way. Bull thought that his ultimatum was ruthless enough, but Yi Chilua still did not have any reaction, as if she did not care about their threat at all, which made Bull very angry. "You little girl, since you refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit, then don't blame me for being impolite." Bull roared and suddenly roared at the sky. Then, he raised his two big fists and punched his chest twice. These two fists seemed to have hit a thick leather drum, making a dull sound. It was as if one's heart had been punched heavily. It was very dull. After the two fists smashed down, The barbaric bull directly became 100 feet tall, turning into a huge wild ox. Its eyes were red, and it directly rushed towards Yi Chilua without hesitation. The two thick bull horns forcefully collided with the golden shield, causing a ripple to appear on the shield. After seeing that this fellow's attack had failed, the soldiers below were greatly encouraged. They had been pessimistic that they had no hope at all, but they did not expect such a powerful defense to exist at this moment. There was no need for them to be afraid at all. State Preceptor. The Imperial Advisor. The Imperial Advisor has always been there. As long as the State Preceptor is here, our defenses will never be broken through. Their voices gradually became louder. They seemed to have more confidence in being able to defend. This powerful defense gave them such confidence. Behind the demon, the spirit child was silently paying attention to the movements in front of him. After seeing this scene, he could not help but frown. General, this human's array formation is too mysterious. I'm afraid we won't be able to break through it in a short period of time. A wild boar soldier with brown fur panted heavily through its nostrils as it lowered its head and asked the spirit child. The spirit boy pondered in confusion. If the two people who came over just now were Honglang and Huishan, they should have broken through the defense of Sea City base by now. At the very least, he should have infiltrated the base by now. Why hadn't he done anything yet? What were they waiting for? The spirit child didn't expect that he would make a wrong judgment. He thought that those two guys had already taken Sea City base, but he didn't expect that the city would still be standing there without any sign of being broken through. Attack with all your might. Yes, General. A few powerful demi-human beings stood in a row in front of the city wall of Sea City. They each held a weapon in their hands and launched a fierce attack on the golden shield. A shadow quietly circled around the area and arrived at the back of Sea City base in a short time, trying to sneak into the area through the weak defense. The golden shield below was quietly cracked open by someone using a sharp weapon. Then, he used his fastest speed to crawl through the crack. The spirit child raised his head and looked at the tall city wall. He had never thought that he would be able to sneak in so easily. He had thought that these humans would be so stubborn to resist. But now, it seemed that it was just this little pressure. However, just as the spirit child was feeling happy, someone suddenly appeared beside him. Li Yuanqing looked at him quietly, as if he had been waiting there for a long time. You still have some ability. You can even tear through Lil Man's shield. Li Yuanqing's appearance greatly shocked the spirit boy. The spirit boy immediately became alert. The muscles all over his body seemed to have tensed up as he looked at Li Yuanqing in confusion. Who are you? Li Yuanqing looked at him meaningfully and said, You sneaked into the city and asked me who I am? It seems that you are the legendary guardian of the human race. The spirit child sized up Li Yuanqing. As far as I know, you're only a third-level array formation realm cultivator. Now it seems that our information seems to have a very serious error. You already have such a profound cultivation, but they actually didn't find out. Li Yuanqing didn't follow his words. Instead, he asked, Since you're here, don't leave. Joke? The spirit child flipped his hand and took out a slender sword. If you want to keep me, it depends on whether you have the ability. Li Yuanqing didn't waste any more words and directly took out a black square platform. The black square platform emitted a dense demonic aura. The moment the spirit boy saw the black square platform, his expression changed drastically. He had never seen such a powerful magic tool in the demon realm. This thing in front of him had exceeded his understanding. A magic treasure? He stared at the black square platform in disbelief. At this moment, he had no intention of fighting Li Yuanqing. He was not a fool. After seeing such a powerful magic treasure, those idiots actually had the courage to rush up and compete with the other party. There was only one thought in his mind now. Without hesitation, the spirit child swung the sword behind him. His entire body turned into a sharp spear and pierced towards the golden shield. The golden shield flickered with spiritual light as if it was under immense pressure. It looked like it would shatter at any moment. However, after such a short obstruction, Li Yuanqing's square platform immediately landed on the spirit boy's head. The spirit child knew that he couldn't let this guy control his body. The moment Fong Tai's silk thread was about to fall, He turned over and dodged to the side, rolling a few dozen feet away. Fellow Taoist, I have nothing to do with you. We have no fate or enmity. As long as you let me go, no demons will come to harass you in the future. This spirit boy's words were quite beautiful at this moment, but Li Yuanqing wouldn't believe his nonsense. Li Yuanqing's expression was cold as he controlled the square platform, constantly moving forward. I told you, since you're here, don't go back. Don't go too far. The spirit child revealed a vicious expression, and his eyes suddenly turned into vertical pupils. His body was also gradually elongated, and he looked like a long snake as he slithered on the ground at an incredible speed. I'm warning you, if you let me go today, I won't be entangled with you. However, if you really want to break up with me, I definitely won't let you off so easily. In this space, it was as if the spirit boy's figure could no longer be captured. Only his sinister and sinister voice could be heard, constantly stabbing into people's ears. Li Yuanqing stretched out an arm and grabbed towards the space on the right. A golden light flashed in his hand, and a small round shield appeared. Clang! Spirit Boy's body was sent flying heavily. His chest felt tight, but he didn't hesitate to hide in this space. The guy in front of him was really powerful. Not only did he have such a powerful magic weapon, but his defensive ability was also very shocking. He had already transformed into 3 afterimages just now to confuse Li Yuanqing, but Li Yuanqing was still able to accurately capture his location. The spirit child knew that he had no chance of winning. He didn't know that Li Yuanqing wasn't fighting alone. There were still man-eating vines controlling the entire city's array behind him, constantly tracking his position. Wherever the spirit child landed, Li Yuanqing would see it. He had nowhere to hide. Right now, the spirit child was constantly moving around the edge of the shield. He wanted to find an opportunity, a perfect opportunity to break through the shield and escape when it was weakened. It was impossible to win against Li Yuanqing. If he wanted to escape now, his only chance of survival was to attack this shield. However, what made him despair was that this golden shield seemed to have a life of its own. As long as he escaped to any position, it would immediately replenish its strength there. It was as if he had predicted all of his steps. How was this possible? The spirit child decided to give it his all after trying for a while. He poured all of his strength into it, wanting to forcefully break open a spot where the flames were gathering. However, just as he was about to attack, wisps of black smoke fell mercilessly and blocked in front of him. Moreover, it formed a cage around him and enveloped him in the middle. The spirit child looked at him in horror. He was now firmly bound and had nowhere to hide. He transformed into his huge body in the cage. It was actually a huge white snake. The snake kept trying to use its powerful body to expand the cage, but when its body touched the black threads, it only produced waves of black smoke. After trying in vain, the serpent transformed into a human again. He could no longer maintain his huge body. His body was firmly restricted by the cage, and he could not transform at all. The injured spirit child sat in the middle of the cage, panting heavily. He looked at Li Yuanqing with a vicious gaze. I didn't expect this. I didn't expect this. There's actually someone as powerful as you among the human race. He resented the news about him. Why had he never received any news about this fellow? If he had known that there was such a powerful human, he would definitely not have sneaked in here alone. Now, it seemed that the other party had deliberately revealed a flaw to let it go. No matter what, he had already fallen into this trap, and all of this was gone. Li Yuanqing stretched out his hand, and the cage shrank. It wrapped around the spirit boy and entered the square platform. Go in and reunite with your 2 brothers. Li Yuanqing flipped his hand and took the square into his bag. This arrogant spirit boy was easily caught in it. Master! There was a flash of light in front of him, and the man-eating vine slowly transformed into the body of a young girl. She carefully lowered her head. You did well. With your current strength, you were able to stop them for so long. Your attainments in array formations are already deep enough. Thank you for your praise, Master. It's all thanks to Master's good teachings. Otherwise, Xiaoman wouldn't have improved so much in such a short period of time. It's better for you to study it yourself. After Li Yuanqing's praise, He heard the sounds in the distance. The demon army outside was still attacking the defensive position. They still didn't know the fact that their general had been captured, and they were still attacking the golden shield with all their might. The light shield had been holding on for so long, and it seemed like it was about to collapse. This made the demons extremely excited. They thought that they were about to obtain the final victory. Seeing that these humans definitely could not hold on for that long, as long as they were taken down this time, the rewards would definitely be endless. Brothers, put all your strength into it, put all your energy into it, and take this place down. When we go back, we'll be heavily rewarded. Following the command of the demon general below, the demons all poured their strength into the golden shield with high morale. Lil Man was unable to cope with such a sudden increase. Xiao Man's face turned pale. It was obvious that the sudden attack of these demons had caught him off guard, and he was almost unable to withstand it now. The golden shield outside suddenly trembled, affecting everyone's hearts. Will it be all right? State Preceptor. What happened to State Preceptor? Imperial Preceptor can't hold on anymore, right? It's already very good that so many demons can hold on for so long. City Lord, one think we have to hold on. How long can we hold on in this situation? City Lord, let's hurry up and make a decision. What should we do? If we continue to wait like this, won't we be waiting for death? Moreover, the State Preceptor is now. In just a short moment of trembling, the people below immediately began to imagine, as if they could already see the man-eating vines exhausted due to overexertion, and finally helplessly fall, leaving them to be slaughtered. Yichilua's face was livid, but a voice sounded in her mind, making her feel a little more at ease. The state affairs will be fine. Yichilua's words made people not know what to say. Since the city lord said so, there must be a reason. However, under such circumstances, why could the city lord still say such words? I wonder if city lord has thought of our next countermeasure. What should we do now? We can't just sit and wait for death. Yichilua slowly took out her weapon and placed it in front of her, as if she was waiting for an opportunity. Soon. This is ambiguous. 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 Facing such a powerful enemy, all they could do now was wait for news that would appear. This was too ridiculous. These generals all thought that the city lord had already fainted. How could he say such strange words? What's wrong with the city lord? Don't tell me you're scared, silly. It doesn't look very optimistic, but why did the city lord become like this? Then what should we do? Should we follow them? The remaining generals also began to retreat. They all had their own thoughts. Even Yi Chilua was scared silly by the current situation. If they continued to follow such a useless city lord, they would probably only be waiting for death. At this moment, the light in the sky gradually dimmed. A large patch of dark clouds had appeared above their heads at some point in time, and there seemed to be something hidden in the dark clouds, as if a large pot lid had been forcefully covered. What's that? What did the demons summon again? In exchange for the big guy, if we don't leave now, we won't have a chance later. When the demons become stronger, they will kill all of us here. The human commanders thought that the monster was a huge creature summoned by the demon race, trying to cover all the human beings in Sea City, so they were buried alive. The demons outside the city were also stunned. They didn't receive any instructions from the spirit child, and the spirit child behind them hadn't given any instructions for a long time. The spirit child was guarding the rear. Originally, the plan had been very well arranged. However, for some reason, there was suddenly no sound. The rear was especially quiet, but everyone could only focus on attacking the city. They continuously poured their strength into the defensive shield, but now the golden shield gradually stabilized. Their attacks gradually lost their effect. To make matters worse, they were surprised to find that the power in their bodies seemed to be suppressed by someone. It was a strange feeling. Especially when the huge dark cloud appeared above his head, he felt that he could not mobilize the strength in his body at all. His entire body seemed to have frozen, and even his limbs began to gradually harden. They vaguely noticed that black threads seemed to have suddenly appeared in the air. To their horror, these black threads not only swam in the air, but also continuously condensed together. In the end, they actually embedded themselves deeply into their flesh and firmly bound their souls. By the time they discovered this, it was already too late. Retreat. Someone suddenly shouted at this moment. All the demons seemed to have found their backbone in an instant and retreated with all their might. They no longer had the mood to attack. For a moment, the huge demon army that had gathered outside the city fled in panic like wild dogs that had lost their home. However, Li Yuanqing had already set up his array formation. It was impossible for these demons to escape now. The slightly weaker demon had only run a few steps when his soul seemed to have been extracted. His entire body instantly collapsed on the ground, and he lay there motionless. As for the slightly stronger demons, they could not resist this powerful attraction force at all. They were still pushing forward with great difficulty, but their escape speed had visibly slowed. General, what should we do now? General, please quickly give the order and tell us what to do. The general is missing. No one knew who had suddenly shouted this sentence. Everyone had waited for this pillar of support in their hearts and had not collapsed. However, after hearing this sentence, everyone seemed to have been defeated in an instant. The demonic beasts looked up at the sky with fierce expressions. With a hoarse grin, he released the power in his body, trying to resist the powerful control force released from the sky. However, their defensive strength was completely insufficient. They were horrified to find that the power in their bodies was still flowing crazily, and it was constantly being sucked away by the dark clouds in the sky. What they did not know was that behind the dark clouds was a huge black square platform. The black square platform was as large as a small mountain. Countless black threads were released from it, guiding the many demons below. Li Yuanqing stood on the black square platform like a god as he coldly looked at the living beings below. These demonic beasts were originally arrogant, but now they could only be as pitiful as stray dogs. Fierce beams of light were continuously poured into the dark cloud, but it was as if the dark cloud was covered in a layer of armor. No matter how much power was poured into it, it was safe and sound. Everything was absorbed by it. This was the first time the demonic beasts felt such despair. There was actually such a terrifying thing in this world. What was it? What was it? They were suppressed to such a miserable state that they had no way of survival at all. The human commanders in Sea City Base were also stunned. They thought that their time was coming to an end, but they didn't expect that this thing could torture the demon beasts to death. In an instant, tens of thousands of demon beasts were captured. Those who were about to escape were so shocked that they could not speak when they saw this scene. They thought that the human race had lost its momentum, but they did not expect such reinforcements to appear. How lucky was this? The City Lord is actually able to invite such reinforcements. Sea City has a chance. Congratulations, City Lord. What kind of mighty figure is this to be able to help in such a dangerous time? Our human race will be of help. Many of them were so moved that they shed tears. They had never seen such a powerful human in their lives. The guy in the sky was like a god, making it impossible for anyone to resist him. Yichilua raised her head and looked at the dark clouds. She knew that there was a man standing there. It was that man who had saved Sea City once again. Yichilua only knew that Li Yuanqing's strength was so strong, but she never thought that Li Yuanqing could reach such a level. That was an army of tens of thousands of demons, and there were many array realm experts among them. Those demonic beasts were probably enough to sweep through the entire demon realm continent, but now, he was like a worm in Li Yuanqing's hands. Just how powerful was this Li Yuanqing? An hour later, the wailing gradually stopped. None of these demon beasts could stand up again. The demon beast corpses that covered the entire mountain seemed to be pulled by something in the sky as they slowly floated into the air. After the corpses fell into the dark clouds, they disappeared without a trace. It was as if there was a huge beast that swallowed the sky and devoured everything. After another hour, the entire sky fell silent. The dark clouds slowly dispersed, revealing the dark sky. There was nothing there. The demons who were attacking outside had also disappeared completely, as if they had never appeared. They did not even leave behind any traces. The defensive shield of Sea City Base gradually faded away, and the entire Sea City Base returned to peace. It was as if the disaster that had just happened was a dream, and they had never encountered such a disaster before. Is it over? They still felt as if they had woken up from a dream. Thank you, Almighty. All of a sudden, a man knelt on the ground, followed by many others. The city wall and every corner of Sea City were filled with people kneeling. They looked up at the sky piously, looking at the person who had once existed like a god. There must be a human god there. It's a sword immortal. It must be a sword immortal. Suddenly, someone said with certainty, "But we didn't see any traces of the sword immortal? It can't be wrong. It must be a sword immortal. Only a sword immortal could step forward to save us at this time. Only a sword immortal could do it. He must be a sword immortal." Although they didn't know what kind of logic this was, they still easily accepted such a setting. It was as if from the beginning to the end, every time the human race was faced with danger, only a sword immortal would step forward. Every time, he would definitely be a sword immortal. This time, it would not be wrong. Sword immortals would never disappoint them. Sword immortal. After the smoke outside had cleared, the human generals looked at the kneeling soldiers and the ordinary human beings below with confusion. They didn't even know what had happened, but such a godlike figure had appeared and saved them. This way, they wouldn't have to escape and could continue to guard this place. It's over. City Lord, it's already over. We successfully survived this calamity. Those demons have all died and will never come again. Suddenly, someone exclaimed in relief. Yi Qilua kept looking up at the sky. The sky had become empty and there was nothing. However, Yi Qilua seemed to have been fixed in this position and could not change it. She kept looking at it in a daze. No one knew what she was looking at. City Lord, what's wrong? Are you all right? City Lord, what happened? Are you okay? Yi Qilua put away her weapon and slowly shook her head. I have nothing to do. Let's go down and look for some spoils of war. There are still many weapons and materials left down there that should be useful. Master, that move of yours just now was too cool. When can you teach us? You actually casually attacked and broke through an army of tens of thousands. Lu Wen was still immersed in the victory just now. The two of them had personally witnessed how Li Yuanqing dealt with the demons. It was simply a great pleasure. Yang Tianqi was so excited that his face was flushed red. Master, you're so powerful. I think those monsters are all very powerful. I'm afraid that any one of them could turn Sea City upside down. But you wiped out so many monsters so easily. One must become someone like you in the future. Then just wait and see. 1 foot 11 inches definitely become as powerful as Master before you. As for you, I'll leave it to fate. The two children sat on the grass in the territory and began to bicker. Beside him were two huge mountains. These two mountains were piled up by the corpses of the demons. At this moment, these demons had all revealed their true forms. Their bodies were all intact, as if they were asleep. However, Lu Wen knew that these demons would never wake up in this lifetime. Just now, Li Yuanqing had used the magic crystal square platform to directly drain all the power in their bodies and extract their souls. They were already completely dead, and there was absolutely no hope of them waking up. These two small mountains were now two incomparably huge treasure troves. The materials that could be collected from them, even if they were casually taken, could be sold in the market for an astronomical figure. Even all the treasures in Sea City Base combined wouldn't be as valuable as the materials in those two mountains. Master still has some matters to deal with outside, so 1 foot 11 inches give you a mission. Master, if you have any missions, just tell us. We have nothing to do now. The two little fellows looked at Li Yuanqing expectantly. Li Yuanqing raised his chin at the corpse beside him. The two of you will divide the materials in these corpses. This is also a very important homework. In the future, when you face these demon beasts, being able to learn to distinguish them will be a very valuable experience for you. Especially these powerful demon beasts, which are rare to see. The two little fellows also wanted to appear very happy, but no matter how good the things were, they could not stop it. There were simply too many of them. At a glance, there were thousands of them. Li Yuanqing didn't even bring back much. Many of them were directly destroyed and turned into smoke in the air. There was nothing left, but even so, there were still thousands of huge demonic beasts. Each demon beast's corpse was like a small hill. Such a huge workload really stunned everyone. However, the two of them did not dare to disobey Li Yuanqing's orders. Since their master had said so, the two of them could only obediently accept this mission. Yes, master. As soon as he finished speaking, Li Yuanqing disappeared from the domain space, leaving the two of them to work hard. After seeing Li Yuanqing disappear, the two of them immediately pulled a long face and looked at each other gloomily. No way. It's already difficult for the two of us to decompose one of them. If we want to decompose all of these thousands of them clearly, wouldn't it take a lifetime? What nonsense are you talking about? Since Master gave us such a mission, he must have his own intentions. One think the two of us should do our best. We can't let Master down. That's true, but this is too scary. I feel like I'm going to die here. Cut the crap. Let's start with this leopard. The leopard in front of them was 500 feet long. Its body was very thin, especially at its waist. The leopard was a powerful fellow in the third rank of the array realm when it was alive. However, it was now completely dead. There was still a fierce look on its face. Just now, they were all staring at the sky, but before they could do anything, they had already been sucked dry. The two of them walked in front of the leopard and spent a lot of effort to lift the leopard down from the top of the hill and onto an open space. The two of them each held a sharp short knife in their hands. The short knife was still flickering with a sparkling white light. They tried their best to urge the short knives and carefully landed on the leopard's abdomen skin. However, the leopard's skin was so tough that the two of them did not expect it. The weapons they were holding were already high-end items given by their masters. However, when they landed on the leopard's skin, they only left a white scratch. This made them feel a headache coming on. No way. Is the skin of this thing made of steel? Why is he so tenacious? It's over. We have to work harder. If this continues, I'm afraid we won't even be able to deal with one. When Master comes back, he'll definitely be furious. Therefore, the two of them worked even harder to fight against these demon beasts. Although their strength was not enough, it was fortunate that they had divine weapons in their hands. After working hard for a long time, they were always able to reluctantly break through. After Li Yuanqing left the domain space, he appeared in the City Lord's mansion. The City Lord's mansion of Sea City Base was rebuilt on the ruins of the original City Lord's mansion. After the demons occupied the original City Lord's mansion, more than half of it had been destroyed. Now, only a framework was left, and most of the contents were about the situation after the reconstruction. The architectural style of the City Lord's mansion was very feminine. Every corner was very round, and all the wood had been specially polished. Basically, the entire City Lord's mansion, including the wooden structure, lines, or any frame visible to the naked eye, was a very round design. Most of these were made by Yi Qilua. Yi Qilua had read a lot of books since she was young, so she knew a lot about these things. Her learning was very broad, and she even dabbled in many subjects, so it was not difficult for her to complete such a design alone. Now, Yi Qilua was standing in a small but warm hall, waiting silently as if she had received an invitation from someone and was waiting patiently. This city lord had just experienced such a calamity and had yet to rest when a very important guest arrived. City Lord Ye's complexion has been good recently. Li Yuanqing quietly appeared behind Yi Qilua. Yi Qilua was already used to this. Young Master Li is still so elusive. One have never felt that young Master Li would appear behind someone. If I am not familiar with him, it would be a little scary. What's wrong? City Lord Yi is afraid? If even young Master Li is afraid of the city, then I'm afraid that no one else in this world can be trusted. Li Yuanqing smiled and brought the topic back on track. I was careless in this matter. If one had understood the situation earlier, I'm afraid I wouldn't have faced such danger. I was still not careful enough. Li Yuanqing sighed slightly. The generals who died in the front are all heroes. City Lord Yi, you must deal with them properly. You can't let people of insight be disappointed. Young Master Li, don't worry. I've already arranged for the soldiers who sacrificed their lives in the fortress to receive generous rewards for their families. If they don't have family, Their names will be left on our monument so that future generations will remember their kindness forever. Li Yuanqing was quite satisfied with this arrangement. He nodded and said, "It's best that City Lord Yi remembers them." City Lord Yi had contributed a lot to Sea City Base being able to be built up in such a short period of time. It seemed that giving Sea City Base to City Lord Yi wasn't wrong. "Young Master Li, please don't make fun of me. If it wasn't for your help, I'm afraid we would have already become delicious food in the belly of the demonic beast. How could we still be able to talk and laugh here? All of this is thanks to young Master Li. I have to say that the luckiest thing in my life was to meet young Master Li." "City Lord Yi, please don't say that. We can be considered to have accomplished each other." "Young Master Li, you're praising me too much." Yi Qilua smiled and lowered her head. She knew that Li Yuanqing was just being polite. How could she call it a compliment? "I don't know where those salespeople came from and if they will come back again. If they come again, what should we do? I don't think we should trouble young Master Li every time and do our best to protect the people in the city." Li Yuanqing was also quite conflicted about this. Although he didn't find it troublesome, it was still a big problem. He would have to leave one day. If he left the catacombs, who would be guarding these humans? The problem was that the cultivation speed of humans here was so slow, but why was there such a powerful demon here? If they could not find this reason, the human race would probably be oppressed for the rest of their lives. However, where could he find such a reason? This matter was strange enough.
Li Yuanqing siga sufli.
Up until now, I've seen many powerful demons. However, in the catacombs world, it's really difficult for humans to reach such heights. Only by finding the reason here can we truly save the human race. Yi Qilua was stunned for a moment and whispered, "Perhaps it's not because the demons in the catacombs world are so powerful, or that they don't exist here. Perhaps they came from other places, like?" Yi Qilua carefully raised her head and looked at Li Yuanqing. She seemed to know something. Li Yuanqing raised his eyebrows and coughed lightly. He did not continue on this topic. If that's what City Lord Yi said, it's really possible. Perhaps these are all coming from other spaces. If that's the case, then we just need to find these entrances and seal them all. Then, the catacombs world might be safe.
No.
Yi Qilua suddenly reached out and pulled Li Yuanqing. Li Yuanqing looked at Yi Qilua in confusion. "Young Master Li, do you know what all cultivators dream of? Naturally, I'll become an immortal. If there's no way to cultivate in the catacombs world and they can't step onto the path of immortality, why don't we leave this door behind to give them a chance?" Li Yuanqing listened to Yi Qilua's words and suddenly hesitated. Yi Qilua's words were not wrong at all. If there really was an upper limit in the catacombs world, where everyone could only cultivate to the spiritualization realm silently, then what was the point of such a world existing in a world where there was no possibility at all? Perhaps those strange places existed to give them a chance. This was a good opportunity for them, wasn't it? But you need to know that the fellows from those worlds are all powerful. They might be devoured as meat before they can obtain the benefits of this cultivation. Yi Qilua looked at Li Yuanqing firmly and said, "For cultivators, the crudest thing is not when they will be devoured like meat, but more importantly, how to find a chance to become an immortal." Li Yuanqing suddenly fell silent. Yi Qilua was right. If they had to choose 100 times, they would choose to make a breakthrough in their strength instead of living in this world. This kind of life was meaningless to them. Then how should he deal with this? This had become another big problem. Li Yuanqing originally thought that he had already found a solution. As long as those places that destroyed stability or the demons were all found, the entire demon realm would be settled. Even if there would still be competition between the humans and the demons, it was not a concern. At least it wouldn't be as ridiculous as this. However, after Yi Qilua's words, Li Yuanqing felt that it would be a very cruel method to seal all the domain spaces. Since City Lord Yi said so, then I will find another way. I hope to find a perfect solution. No matter what, City Lord Yi, please pay more attention to the following matters and don't relax. Thank you, young Master Li. On behalf of the cultivation practitioners, I would like to express my gratitude to young Master Li. If young Master Li can really find a way out for them, then young Master Li will be the hero of the entire catacombs world. I can't say that I'm a hero. At that time, I will erect the tallest stone tablet for young Master Li. Oh no, mother is bad. A thin monkey rolled and crawled into the cave. It looked down at the ground and did not dare to look up at the queen insect. Who did this? Mother, it seems that General Honglang and General Huishan have joined the human race. What is it? Where are the two of them? After a while, the cow head and horse head knelt in front of the queen bug, trembling, and told everything that had happened in detail. Mother, what we said is true. Those two generals kept saying that you sent them out, so the two of us dared to open the door. Otherwise, we wouldn't dare to do such a thing. Bastard! The silver body of the queen bug suddenly lit up with pure holy light. The light was very warm, and when it shone, it was a little mesmerizing. However, as the queen bug's emotions surged, the light gradually became dazzling. When a bright white light flashed, the two guards who were kneeling there disappeared without a trace. The queen bug looked down with a gloomy expression. All the high-ranking officers had gathered under its body. Of course, they were the living ones. The spirit child, Honglang, and Huishan were absent, but the others were all present. They were all silent out of fear, not daring to say a word. Why did Honglang and Huishan make such a choice? The queen bug's gaze fell on the white bear with pure white fur. The white bear naturally noticed this gaze. Its body trembled as it carefully raised its head to look at the queen insect, then at its brother beside it. However, no one could speak for him at this time. He said with a trembling voice, "Mother, I have never been on good terms with Huishan. Mother should be very clear about our relationship. He is usually a dull person who hangs out with that red-haired monkey. We have never liked him." The queen bug said in a low voice, "I didn't ask you that. I asked you why they were like this." "Mother!" The white bear raised its head and looked at the queen insect, thinking that if it could not give a definite answer, it would be in trouble again. After thinking for a while, it reluctantly said, "Perhaps there is a conflict between them. As far as one knows, the spirit boy and the two of them have never been on good terms. Is it possible that there is a grudge between them and the spirit boy, so the two guys from Grey Mountain chose to rely on the human race?" The other demonic beasts nodded in agreement. "You're right. The few of them have always disliked each other. As long as they meet, they will definitely quarrel. I knew that this monkey and the spirit child would cause trouble sooner or later. The two of them look like they have a deep hatred for each other all day long. One didn't expect them to actually do something like relying on the human race. But since things have come to this, what should we do now?" Although they were discussing animatedly, none of them could come up with a good idea. They were all pushing each other. No one wanted to take responsibility for this matter. Bai Ming, do you have any way to take down Sea City Base? The white bear felt a knot in its heart. It had tried every means to push this matter out, but why did it have to fall on it? "Mother, we sent tens of thousands of troops and lost them all in Sea City. In my opinion, the human tribe is much stronger than we imagined. At least, the situation is much more profound than what the intelligence brought back. Do you know that this is a heaven-sent opportunity? The black dragon has actually loosened its mouth and agreed to let us live in the demon world. What a great opportunity this is. Are we going to stay in this bottomless cave for another 100 years? I didn't mean that. I'm just saying that since this human can't even deal with the black dragon, he must have something extraordinary. If we want to wipe them out in such a hurry, I'm afraid it's not realistic. Otherwise, we can also negotiate with that human. Wouldn't that be? What kind of stupid move is this?" As soon as White Bear finished speaking, someone stepped forward. "That's right. That black dragon agreed to let us occupy a place here, but the condition is that we have to wipe out these humans. If these humans are still alive, do you think that black dragon will let us stay in the demon realm so peacefully? I think you're so scared that you're confused. What's there to say? Isn't his name always like this? It's not just a day or two." There was a burst of laughter among the crowd. Although they didn't want to take the responsibility, they were more active when they laughed at others. White Bear suddenly had an idea and pointed at the werewolf who was laughing the most. "Sanlang, I see that you three brothers are full of ideas all day long. If you three brothers were here, it would be easy for me to take Sea City Base.
I'm weak.
How can I fight against Red Waves, Grey Mountain, and that human expert? Mother, If you ask me, the three brothers are the best candidates.